the world of protest. Now, I really want to focus on the Latin Spring that I've been predicting, that there's going to be a massive uprising in Latin America, and there's going to be a massive Latin Spring. And I want to bring up the Latin Spring because I feel it's important, because I think the first continent that's going to fall hard is Latin America, South America, Portuguese America, whatever you want to call it. The southern hemisphere of the Americas will get hit hard, and I think there's going to be an uprising because the corruption's been going on for so long on there. The corruption's been going on for eons and eons and eons. The blatant corruption that we're seeing our governments do today here in the North or in other Western countries, this blatant corruption that we're seeing now has been happening in Latin America pretty much since the end of World War I. So let's break this down, and we got a lot to cover here. So the world's in protest. This is Petro out. So this is protests in the Colombian capital, because remember they raised the GST a few years back there, and it is crazy what's happening there in Colombia. So we got worldwide protests. Latin Spring is going to come this fall in South America. AKA their summer, I guess, our fall. So you'll be seeing a huge uprising because we're going back to 2019, folks. We're going back to the year of the protest, like we've been telling you. And here's the headline here. Thousands march in Colombia to protest government reforms. And it goes into Bogota, March 6th. Thousands of people marching through Colombia's biggest cities on Wednesday to protest political, economic, and social reforms backed by President Gustavo Petro, as well as a demand action against the deteriorating security. So the violence is severely out of control right now in Colombia. I have boots on the ground in Colombia that told me what's going on. And by the way, this protest is still happening right now on the weekend on March 9th. It is happening right now as I am talking to you guys. This is not gonna go away, and governments are gonna lose grip. So like if you look at this sign right here, there's a sign right here, and it says desaparecido. So, and in Bogota, and basically somebody disappeared. A young man there disappeared in 2020. And look, more people disappeared. So there is little to no security right now in Colombia, and it is out of control. Let's roll into Argentina's 8M feminist strike. Women are protesting cuts and hunger. Feminists are uniting in the International Women's Day protest economic violence inflicted by new President Javier Milei. So they are calling him for accountability, and there's a feminist movement happening in Argentina. Argentinian women from all walks of life will take to the streets nationwide on the 8th of March. So that was yesterday, International Women's Day, as part of a feminist strike calling for the end of the country's growing poverty. Already affects 57% of the population, 46 million. But it's not the current president that did this, folks. This was actually done by the previous administration that basically destroyed the country. And Polish police unleash wave of violence on farmers protesting in Warsaw. PM Tusk comes under pressure. So again, farmers don't want to be slaves. They want to be farmers. And there's a little bit of footage here for you guys. So you see the police there, public sector workers, right, getting government salaries while the private citizen suffers under the baton. Well, there it is right there. And Lima, let's go back to South America. So we did a little jump to Europe and back to anti-government march in Lima. And Peruvian government. So the government obviously isn't working out. And when that other government in Peru had to go into exile, what was that, 4 or 5 years ago? If you guys remember that, we covered that on Mike in the Night. So no confidence in governments anywhere. And I believe there's going to be a massive Latin Spring. And the protesting goes on, and it just becomes a broken record. And tens of thousands of Bolsonaro supporters protest to defend Brazil's former president against investigations. Now, down in Portuguese America, you had this like a January 6th incursion, just like they framed in America. So they make Trump look bad. They framed that whole January, was it January 9th or January? I don't even know, right? But they did another kind of movement like that and blaming Bolsonaro when there's no confidence in governments, and nobody voted for Lula. That's the crazy thing, is nobody voted for Lula, but he still won. It's a selection, not an election, like we've been saying for years. Now let's go over here, and tens of thousands of Bolsonaro supporters protest to defend Brazil. So what I seek is pacification. It is erasing the past, Bolsonaro said in his speech in Sao Paulo on Sunday, and he denied that his supporters attempted a coup when rioters assaulted government buildings in 2023. So anybody could go and assault buildings, and they're obviously going to blame the guy that got the election stolen from him. You get an election stolen from you, guess what? Anything that goes wrong to government buildings, you're on the hook, even though we stole the election from you on top of that. Bunch of pricks. All right, let's go.